Hi everyone, this is the Bon Jovi Talk podcast. So today's one is going to be the review of Forever, the latest Bon Jovi album. Obviously, it's been out now well over a month. And originally, I'll be honest with you, I wanted to do this video on the day that it got released. But I thought to myself there was two things, do one and maybe on first listen I'm not that keen on it. And it's kind of a negative review, and people aren't really into that type thing. They want to hear kind of how it is a month or so on. Would I love it on the first listen? And a month or so on, I really dislike it. It was one of them, do it, on the first one or not. And I'll be honest with you, I'm quite glad I never, because on first listen to how I'm kind of listening to it now, it's very different. The day it came out, I was going on holiday that day, so I literally listened to it once, packed my suitcase and went, and I then listened to it obviously on the plane and stuff like that. But I'm kind of glad that I'm doing the review now. I know it's a late one. I know maybe the album's a bit stale for people now, and I can see why. Maybe it's still the best album for people. So I suppose there's never really a right time to do it. In 10 years' time, I might do this again, God willing. Who knows? But for now, I'm going to do the review as I see it, 6-7 weeks on, whatever it is. So yeah, the first time I listened to the album, obviously I'd already heard about 7 songs from the album, I think, and there's only 12 on there. And I don't even know if that's including Hollow Man. Maybe I heard 8. But yeah, I'd heard a good portion of the album anyway, and my expectations were very high. I think the weakest one that I'd heard at that point was Kiss the Bride, which I'll obviously touch on as the review goes on. But in terms of what I'd heard at that time, it was the weakest one of the lot. We made it look easier. I remember saying on the other podcasts or the other, the videos that I've been doing, it was also okay. That was about it. So I'm kind of glad I've gave the album a bit of time, and I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't tell you last time I listened to the album in full. I will be honest. Maybe when I was on holiday. So again, you're talking 6-7 weeks ago. It was probably on the flight home. Maybe that was the last time I'd actually listened to it. Legendary to Hollow Man. I'd say there's probably 6 or 7 songs that are still maybe not even that, 4 or 5 songs that I probably listen to regularly. And then 1 or 2 which I absolutely love and probably listen to every day. But yeah, I'll crack on with the album. So Legendary opens up the album, and we did Legendary now for, well, it's probably about 6 or 7 months now, because it was January when they done the Music Haze show, and obviously that's when we got the performance of that. And I remember listening to it at the time thinking it sounds okay, but it's kind of hard to judge, listen to someone's, recording from a mobile phone and things like that. But I thought it was, I thought it was average at the time. I thought it was okay, nothing spectacular. Kind of what I expected with the band as a single. I still don't think it should have been the first single personally. But yeah, I thought it was an okay song. And I'll be honest, I probably still have that same feeling now. I probably like it more now than I did when it got released as a proper single in March or whenever that was with the video. I probably prefer it now. I think it worked well on the documentary. I think that kind of helped me like it a little bit more. I actually really liked the demo, and I think a mixture of the two of them made the song a bit better. But that's just my opinion. I think Legendary's okay. Do I think it should open the album? Probably not. But yeah, I still think it's okay. So then we made it look easy is the follow on, and as I said in previous videos, I've mentioned how I got to listen to this in that like journalist listening party that I snuck into, and I think John put me off, and I've said this a few times, so I'm probably boring people saying this, but that's kind of how I feel about it. I think John put me off enjoying this song more than I probably should, because he was saying how when we released Slippery, Living on a Prayer was the second single, and that made things explode, and I feel like this is going to be the same. So in my mind I was kind of thinking, right, we're going to get a really, really, really good song here, and it just kind of fell flat. I remember listening to it going, this this definitely won't do that. And again, probably because I've listened to it a little bit more, I do think it's all right, but it does nothing for me. I don't really want it as a single, but I think it's looking like that's going to be the case. Apparently, they've already filmed the music video for it. And yeah, it's just another song where I kind of go, yeah, it's okay, it's decent enough. I don't hate it. I certainly don't hate it. There's, when John says the word sometimes in the first verse, I really, really think he sounds poor. And I remember at the listening party, I said exactly the same thing. When I left, I said, the song sounds okay, but he sounded really poor, and that's the first time. Legendary, I don't think he sounds that bad. Living Proof, I think we heard on that day. I thought he sounded very good on that. And yeah, I just think, I do think John put me off because it seems that a lot of people do actually like it. And for me, I just think him saying that put me off a little bit, but it is what it is. I think it's an alright song. I don't skip it, put it that way. I probably did when I first listened to the album, the first few times, because I'd already heard it, and as I said, I think it was okay at the time. But the more I've listened to it, I think it's better than the first listen. Living Proof, I spoke about it many times, so I won't go on too much about that. But I think Living Proof is the typical Bon Jovi single that we kind of want. I'm not, we're never gonna get a Hey God, we're never gonna get a Fear, we're never gonna get a rock song that, when John says, "Oh, this is the rock song you've all been wanting," we're never gonna get the ones that we actually want, or the ones that I certainly want anyway. Some people are different. I think Living Proof is one of the best singles they've released. It should have had a music video. It's one of them. I think it maybe should have been the first single, but then I think we would have been really let down by the album because it probably is the rockiest song on there. But I think John sounds excellent. It probably could have done with a better guitar solo, but as I said, we've spoke about Living Proof before. I've probably done a full review on it. I can't really remember. But I think it's a very, very good song, and I think it's in my top 3 still, probably on the Forever album. I'm not bored of it. I thought it might have been because it was something that I was playing quite a lot when it first got released, but it's probably still in them 4 or 5 songs that I mentioned at the start that I do listen to quite regularly. Now the next song, Waves, I think Waves is probably the best song the band have recorded in, I actually don't know, certainly in the last 15 years, because I really Love's the Only Rule. I'm trying to think if there's anything maybe past after that. I love Who Would You Die For. Yeah, I'd say probably the last 15 years, it's probably the best song for me. I think John sounds brilliant on it. I think the lyrics are very good. I personally love the way it starts. I mean, it is a bit misleading, but I think I personally like how it starts, quite upbeat, and then just kind of goes a little bit like mid-tempo. I know for those who want the rock song, like myself, it was probably a little bit of false hope, but it's something different, and I quite like it. I think, yeah, John sounds brilliant on it. I think the lyrics are great. I love the last, where John says, "Tide is rising and I'm riding," and then it goes into the guitar solo. I think that fits perfect, but I actually think John sounds like he used to. He's got that kind of tone to his voice where he sounds like he did around the Crush era, in my opinion. I actually think he sounds very similar to the Crush era on this song, and I think this song would have fit perfect on that. Yeah, I remember listening to it for the first time at that Banquet Records Prism show, and I loved it, and I love it even more now. It's by far the most played song on the album for me. I definitely listen to it at least once a day, at least, and I know that doesn't sound much, but I do work 14 hours every day, so I try and put it on in the gym as much as I can, but I at least put it on at least once a day. But on a weekend or something, I probably listen to it 3 or 4, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And I also think that that song would have been perfect as a single. It still may be, but I think that's it. To me, this is the Bon Jovi that we love. That Waves, I think it's just a fantastic song. I really do. And I think, coming after Living Proof, I think them two are spot on back to back. And yeah, I really wish it was a single and kind of it's highlighted more than it should have been. Seeds is the one after that. So Seeds again, I got to hear at Seeds twice actually. So I heard it at the Journalist one, then I heard it at the Banquet Records one. And I love it, right? And I always have from the first time I heard it. But the Seeds Weeds line is very cringe and very plain and boring, and for someone who's such a good songwriter in my opinion, writes some great lyrics, certainly over 40 years has wrote some of the best lyrics I've personally heard, to write Seeds and Weeds and leaves, and it's just a little bit, it's kind of what you'd expect someone in school to do. I just don't think that the best lyrics. However, apart from that, absolutely brilliant song. Very different to what we've probably had before. People are comparing it to Next 100 Years in terms of the outro, and I can see why. But apart from that, I don't think there's anything that resembles another Bon Jovi song. I think the outro is absolutely brilliant. Again, never gets boring. I'll always have that vision of the first time I heard it, and caught John at the corner of my eye, just kind of stomping his foot to it. And I'll always remember, I've always said certain songs take you back to certain places, and that's why, even though they might not be the best song in the world, it holds something very high for you. And that's one of them where I was in such an intimate room and you kind of listen to a brand new song for the first time that, the 40 people or whoever was there with me are hearing for the first time. We're the only ones who did that at this point, probably, or one of few. And you turn and you see John Bon Jovi doing that. It was just, it takes me back to that, and I absolutely love it. So I think Seeds is a very good song. Again, it's probably one that I still do listen to quite regularly. Maybe not as much as when the album first come out, but that doesn't mean I dislike it. Kiss the Bride's next. Probably one of the worst Bon Jovi songs ever for me, unfortunately. I've never liked it. The first time I heard it, I didn't like it. It's not the type of song I want the band to do. I don't think it should have been on the album. I get the sentiment behind it, but I also thought the same about Story of Love. And I hate the thing where people go, and they might be right, but I hate the way people go, oh, if you had a daughter, you'd understand. Or, the Story of Love, where it was about families and stuff, and but that doesn't mean the song's good. The meaning's nice, and I get that you might like the meaning, but I don't think that the song, personally, again, I don't think the song's good. I don't think it highlights John's vocals in a good way, which is strange because before Forever come out, I was expecting the ones that were a little bit more up-tempo to be the ones where I think John would struggle with, but it seems to be the ballads on this album. I just think Kiss the Bride's a poor song. It should have been a bonus track. That was Then, This Is Now should have took Kiss the Bride's place personally. I think it would have fit the album a lot more. And yeah, it's just not my cup of tea, unfortunately. And I don't think it ever will be. I remember listening to it again in full on the day it got released, and kind of wanting the song just to be over so I could listen to the next song. And I'm not one of them. As much as I hate a song, if I've heard it before, I'll always listen to the album in full. I won't skip a song, even if I've heard that song before. I like to listen to the album in full, so I did do that, but it's just not my cup of tea. Things pick up again with The People's House. I think The People's House is decent. I think it's actually lacking a lot. I think if The People's House was released in 2009, where John kind of had that Happy Now vocal, Love's the Only Real vocal, Broken Promised Land vocal, I I think I think that song would have went to another level. I actually think it kind of just feels like it stays like this the whole way through. Really good guitar solo. I don't think John sounds bad in it, by the way. That's not me criticising his voice. I actually think he sounds decent. But I think, it kind of, the drums kick in at a certain part and you expect it to go up a key or something and it doesn't. It just does the same thing. And that's probably just John holding back a little bit, which is fair enough, obviously, with the surgery and stuff. But 15 years ago when the circle was out, maybe even when, burning bridges or something, he probably would have pushed a little bit more. But I think it just stays flat in terms of it's just the same level for me. A decent enough song, a 6 out of 10 song maybe. But again, that's not me saying I don't like it. I do really like it. I just think to go to an 8 maybe, it could have just had an extra, a little bit at the end, just to pick it up a little bit, but it is what it is. Walls of Jericho, again another song that I'd already heard, and it was the song title that caught my eye when the track list came out. It was a song that caught my eye when certain songs got added to that ASCAP as well, because as a kid growing up watching wrestling, I know it's got nothing to do with wrestling wars. I know it's got nothing to do with wrestling, the song, but as a kid watching wrestling and Chris Jericho and the Walls of Jericho being his move, it was something that I was, a song title that caught my eye, and I think it's a typical Bon Jovi, up-tempo, pop rock song, a song that'll work well in a stadium. I think if it picks up, I remember a lot of people saying Because We Can would do well in a stadium, and I actually think it felt quite flat. But I think this definitely has a little bit more to it, and I think this will work well in a stadium or an arena or something like that. I think it's going to be a staple in the set list if they tour again, and I can see why. And John at the Q&A thing at Prism did say, imagine 60,000 people at Hyde Park all waving their arms to this and stuff, and you can picture that. And I know people who didn't know John said that have listened to the album and said, oh, I can see that being played at a stadium and stuff like that. So Walls of Jericho was one that still probably I play. If I put the album on, it's not one that I do skip. I Wrote You a Song. Again, it's the ballads that really let this album down for me. So I Wrote You a Song is a better version maybe of Kiss the Bride, but that's not difficult in my opinion. It's not a song I listen to often. Probably no more than 8 to 10 times since the album's come out have I listened to it. And I know that probably actually might sound a lot for some people, but as I said, I try not to skip too many songs on albums, but I do skip this along with Kiss the Bride. It's just, it does nothing. It does nothing for me. It's a nicer version. I can tolerate it a lot more than Kiss the Bride. As I said, Kiss the Bride is John trying to be someone or be something, release something that he doesn't need to do, in my opinion. Whereas I Wrote You a Song, you kind of just go, okay. You can see why it's on the album. I'd have it over the album. I'd have it over Kiss the Bride on the album, but it does nothing for me, unfortunately. Living in Paradise. So, when ASCAP, I think it was on ASCAP or one of the song lyric type things, it did say that this song was co-written with Ed Sheeran, and as I mentioned before, I was the one who kind of got the confirmation on that it was true when I went to the journalist listening party, and I kind of didn't know what to expect from it. Was it going to be a pop rock song? Was it going to be a ballad? I actually expected it to be more like I Wrote You a Song, and if you listen to the opening lyrics of I Wrote You a Song, you can see why it's very Ed Sheeran-esque. Living in Paradise, I actually really like. I probably like it more now than I did the first time I heard it. I remember listening to it for the first time thinking, this is quite safe. It's, I could hear it on the radio, but now listening to it, I actually do really like it. It kind of takes me back to being on holiday, in all honesty, where, you feel lucky to be away and you work hard and I was listening to Living in Paradise, and you kind of like, you know what, this is boss, this is sound. And yeah, that again, it takes me back to that, so that probably gives me a better, more of a higher rating of the song than the song actually is. But I do think the band have missed a trick by not promoting the hell out of Ed Sheeran writing this. And you know what, I get that people will go, oh, they don't need to and stuff like that, but it just gets eyes on you. At the end of the day, it's a business, and you want as many eyes on you. You want to sell as many copies. You want people to listen to your music. You've wrote these songs for people to hear them, so give us a little bit more. And there's 95% of the world, or more, 99% of the world, who probably don't even know Ed Sheeran has wrote a song with John Bon Jovi. So, I do think they've missed a trick with it. Whether they still do that, I don't know. Whether they, it might be released as a single, who knows? One day they may perform it. I don't know, but I do think they missed a trick in it, and I certainly think they did while John was here. As I said, the songs that kept getting mentioned was Kiss the Bride in every interview. Oh, you wrote a song for your daughter. And people have probably listened to it and gone, whereas I think Living in Paradise, they'd have gone, oh, Ed Sheeran wrote it, and Ed Sheeran fans would listen to it and then probably sent it to their friends and so on and so forth. Like, listen to Kiss the Bride, I highly doubt anyone sent it to anyone. My First Guitar is the next song, so what a weird song. Like, the first time I heard it, I remember cringing. I'd got a message off a friend, I got a message off Jimmy, who obviously a lot of people know from the podcast, and a good friend. And I remember him saying, the last minute or two is, kind of classic John. And then I got another message off a guy called Adam, who said, oh, you'll love the last minute or two. And I was like, okay. But then I was kind of thinking, what's happening in the previous 3 or 4 minutes of the song? And I remember listening to it and hearing John say he's in love with his first guitar. I just remember cringing. I was just like, surely not. Surely he's not going to say that again in the song. And lo and behold, it actually was the chorus. But the first time he says it, and I still cringe a little bit now. I don't know whether it's like there seems to be like a bit of auto-tune on it as well, which makes it sound worse than it is. Whereas I think the rest of them, where he has that rasp, it's not as cringe. And probably as the song goes on, you kind of forget about it. But the first time he said he was in love with a guitar, I did. I can't help but cringe at it. However, I've put this on Bon Jovi Talk before. I actually think the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, is up there with the best Bon Jovi moments in the last 15, 20 years. I think the rasp is excellent in John. I think the bridge where he goes on about the cardboard case and the Starburst finish, rock and roll star, Kiss records, or all that part, I think that is excellent. I actually think the guitar, the riff in it, the melody, I think it's spot on. My criticism is I think it actually finishes too short. I actually think that outro could have went on a little bit longer. You could have probably got another go of that, because I actually really like him. It might be Shanks doing it, I actually don't know. I've never looked it up. It probably is. But that doesn't mean it's bad. I actually think it's really good, and I'm not a Shanks fan at all, but I actually think the riff or the melody or whatever you want to call it is spot on. I think John's little raspy moments that he has, perfect. I think that them lyrics that I mentioned, spot on. And I just think that last minute or so is just excellent. I really do. And it's up there, and that's what I was saying about the People's House. I kind of feel like the People's House needed something to take it to another level, and I think personally My First Guitar did that, and I think it does it really well. I think it's an excellent song, and I certainly think the last minute or two make it an excellent song. As I said, the first part's a little bit cringe, but the song itself is brilliant, and again it takes me back to being on Aldi. I remember waking up early and just, I thought I'd throw my headphones in, I put the album on shuffle, and it was the first or second song, and I was just sat there in 30 degrees heat, early morning, on a veranda, just looking at the pool, looking out, and just thinking, what, this is nice, and yeah, it's just, I just think that song goes to another level, which some songs don't on this album. Hollow Man, it shouldn't have ended the album. Again, it was one that, God, it must have been about 2021, was it? 2021, 2022, when we first heard this at one of them runaway shows or whatever it was. And I thought it was okay then. I just don't really, it just does nothing for me. Again, I've probably, like I Wrote You a Song, handful of times I've listened to it, does nothing for me. Shouldn't have ended the album. I think it's the ballads that let the album down. And Hollow Man is very much a John solo song. It reminds me of Old Habits Die Hard. It reminds me of Not Running Anymore. It reminds me of them type of songs. And I don't think the album needed them. I really don't. I actually think if you kept I Wrote You a Song and added in That Was Then, This Is Now, and I'm sure there was one or two of the songs that were a bit more upbeat than Kiss the Bride, I Wrote You a Song, and Hollow Man. I actually think you could have had a very, very good album. But yeah, Hollow Man isn't an album closer, and it's weird because I'm talking about a ballad closing here. I think Learn to Love is a brilliant album closer for The Circle. I've always said that. But I really dislike Hollow Man being an album closer. I don't really particularly like the song. And unfortunately, the ballads let the album down. I remember when I listened to the album for the first time, I probably gave it 5.5 or 6 out of 10. In all honesty, that probably hasn't changed because the songs, as I said, that the likes of Legendary, which I think is okay, We Made It Look Easy, which is okay, The People's House, which could have went to another level, Seeds, which I find a little bit cringe at moments, My First Guitar, which I find cringe at moments, the songs that have kind of gone up and down for me, which, on first listen, when I listened to Seeds, I thought it was one of the best songs. When, The People's House, when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, this sounds really good, this is different a little bit, it's the intro's very good and stuff, but yeah, I think the album's still probably a 6.5 maybe. It's probably gone up a little bit. There's 3 or 4 songs that I think Waves is fantastic. I think Living Proof's excellent. Walls of Jericho I really, really like. Seeds, apart from that line in the chorus, I think is excellent. My First Guitar, 2.5 minutes on, is fantastic. So there is elements of classic Bon Jovi there, but again, just like the rest of the albums, I think there's a lot that lets it down, unfortunately. And yeah, it's a shame. It is, because probably a bit like What About Now, there was potential for them songs to be on another level, and it's missing something. And you could say it's missing Richie. I'm not saying that. I don't know. Maybe. Is it missing John's vocals? As I said, 2009 vocals where, Love's the Only Rule or Happy Now have that kind of grit to them. It's probably missing on a couple of songs where you think, yeah, he could go to a different level here. I just think it is lacking a little bit, but it's much better than 2020. It's much, much better, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of songs that are still beat some songs on forever, so I think Let It Rain's excellent song. I think Love Can is that's a Bon Jovi ballad. That's the type of ballad I'll take. Imagine getting rid of Hollow Man and putting Love Can in. It'd take the album to another level. Imagine getting rid of Kiss the Bride and putting in Let It Rain. Beautiful Drug I've always quite liked. And Blood in the Water. Even if you took Kiss the Bride, I'd put Blood in the Water in. That's a much, much, much better album. But yeah, it swings around. I'm comparing 2 different albums, so it's almost pointless. But it just shows that there's certain songs that could have made another album better if they saved it or whatever. But yeah, I think, it's a 6.5 album for me. I can't see myself listening to it much in the next couple of months, I'll be honest. As I said, Waves, I can. I hope I don't get bored of Waves. I hope they kind of announce a tour, or shows, maybe not a tour, shows, because I do want to see what John's vocals like. While I was away, he done that Nashville show and it was dreadful, or it sounded dreadful, and it made me go from, okay, he could do this, to he can't. He sounds just as bad as he did in 2022. But whether that was just through all the media he done, whether that was just a bad day, we could give him all the excuses in the world. However, I do think we need to see a promo show, whether it's just this album in full, where it's a little bit easier on the vocals and he's not opening up with Blood on Blood like he did at that Nashville show, Yeah, I just think I think we need to see how he sounds for the tour at a promo show. I think these songs could work in an arena setting or a stadium setting, certainly some of them. And yeah, as I said, I don't dislike the album by any means. I think it's a good album. I don't think it's great. I think it's good. And I still don't think they're finished. They've got elements like Waves, like the end of My First Guitar, where they are still a band, or John's still got it where he can produce something. So I haven't given up. I never have given up on Bon Jovi. There's times where I felt like, but I haven't. And this album hasn't made me go, no, they haven't got it anymore. It's made me go, no, they still have something. They're just not doing it consistently enough. But each to their own. Some people hated the album from first listen. Some people were saying it's the best album since these days. I definitely don't think it is. But I certainly don't think it's the worst album ever either. So yeah, have your own opinion. Don't be scared to have your own opinion. Don't be scared to put your opinion about my opinion. And leave a comment and tell me what you do think of the album, because as I said, it's probably been a while even on Bon Jovi Talk since I posted about it. So let me know what you think. Hopefully, a lot of you are still enjoying it, and unfortunately it didn't do too well in sales and stuff, but that's the way we live in now. You can't expect it to. But yeah, hopefully we get more. As I always say, I'll try my best to do more of these videos. I just haven't got time. So I will try my best, I promise you. And if anyone wants to jump on, let me know and we'll try and sort something when we're both free, but I can't promise I will be. But thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've kind of waited for this review, because obviously I've run the podcast to voice my opinion. I run the Bon Jovi Talk page to voice my opinion and also to listen to it. So yeah, as I said, comments, let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't done all that, or whatever they say. And hopefully I'll do another video soon. Thanks everyone.